My mom will stop at nothing to get me into a relationship. On my birthday, she shoved a clueless young man into my room and told me to unwrap him myself. After unwrapping him, I realized I wanted my mom to give me a gift, but she wanted me to give my life. On my birthday, I came home completely drunk, and my mom gave me a call. I left the gift in your room, open it yourself. My mother was so straightforward. I thought the latest bag I wanted was already in my hands. But then, I saw a young man wrapped in a towel, lying there quietly. He was wrapped in my little pink towel, his legs were too long, my towel was too short, and he was exposed at both ends. I swallowed hard. Mom, you're serious? How much? I think my mom has been corrupted by her square dancing friends. Whatever my daughter wants, no matter how expensive, Mom will buy it for you. It's just that recently she's been forcing me to go on blind dates every day. After I failed each time, I said, I, a faithful woman, vow to balance meat and vegetables in my diet for the rest of my life, praying to the heavens to send me a boyfriend. Could it be that my mom actually took it to heart? No, Mom, this isn't appropriate. What's there to be shy about? Just take it if it's given to you. I looked at the young man again, my scalp tingling, but thinking about how miserable I felt at the class reunion today, stuffed to the point of vomiting on dog food, I decided to take him. Halfway through untying the towel, a hand pressed down on mine. What are you doing? He slightly opened his eyes, his voice low and hoarse, his gaze slightly intoxicated. My heart skipped a beat. What am I doing? Is he shy? Should I turn off the light? I asked softly. He stared at me for half a minute. Click. I turned off the light, thinking of his face that could wreak havoc in the world. I mustered up the courage and kissed him on the cheek. How old are you, sis? He smiled, stopping my wandering hands, his magnetic voice slipping into my ears, making them itch. I was taken aback for a moment, challenging me. I shamelessly added a few cup sizes. Ha, he chuckled softly, then laughed so hard his whole body shook. Are you sure? Doubting me. At least see. I'm absolutely certain. He remained silent for a moment before lazily replying. What I meant was age. How embarrassing. 26. I said through gritted teeth. It's a bit too big, he sighed. Then let go of my hand. With the lights off, I can manage. Then he just lay there, completely at my mercy. You're being paid, and you still have the nerve to pick and choose your employer. That's just unreasonable. Shut up. My fighting spirit was instantly ignited. Just you wait, I'll make you cry. It turns out, my little brother really is a crybaby. Can we sleep now? He asked me with red eyes, his voice hoarse. Does it hurt? I paused. Yeah, he mumbled without saying much, not daring to look at me, as if he had lost half his life. Thinking about how he dared to provoke me just now, my competitive spirit has been ignited. Endure it. I'm in pain too, but I won't admit defeat. Can I sleep now? He tugged at the blanket, his voice barely a whisper. All right. At this moment, I'm already like a frostbitten eggplant, completely deflated. I rubbed my sore back, hugging myself and crying. I just wanted my mom to give me a gift, but she wanted me to give my life. In the middle of the night, my dad came knocking on my door. Have you seen my boss's son? Rubbing my extremely sleepy eyes, I asked. Dad, what boss's son? I've only just slept for half an hour, and my mind is a complete mess right now. I was drinking with the boss yesterday, and the boss's son got drunk. I brought him to our place to rest since it was nearby. When I came back and didn't see him, I just wanted to ask you. As my dad said this, he kept glancing toward my room. I stood there frozen, thinking for a full minute. Boss's son, my mind suddenly flashed to that face lying in the room, on the verge of death. Boom, a thunderbolt struck me, leaving nothing behind. No, I didn't see him. I glanced into the room, jolted awake by fear. I need to sleep. Bang, I guiltily closed the door. After a few minutes of mental preparation, I nervously walked to the bedside and gently tugged at his blanket. Are you asleep? I tried to make my voice as gentle as possible. It took him a while to slowly open his eyes. With a long arm, he pulled the blanket tighter around himself, covering up more securely. Want more? Am I that kind of beast? No. I pinched my fingers, feeling uneasy. I wanted to ask you, then sleep for a while. He pulled me over, as if to comfort me, and reached out to stroke my head. I'm too tired. Hearing his words, my heart tightened in fear. This was all just a misunderstanding. Would you like some water? Remembering my earlier attitude toward him, I began to want to make amends. He opened his eyes, stared at me for a few seconds, and said, how about tomorrow? Was I overthinking it? Did he mean that? Social death. Given that we were both either drunk or exhausted, and neither of us was in a clear state of mind, I decided to get some sleep first and figure things out later. I slept. But I didn't come up with a single solution. My mom came knocking on my door early in the morning. "Did you open the gift? Do you like it?" I stood there with a deathly pale face, looking like an idiot. "I took it apart," I lied guiltily, not knowing what my mom had sent. "I liked it, let me sleep a little longer." With that, I slammed the door shut. When I returned to the room, there was no one on the bed. Then, the sound of running water came from the bathroom. I stared at that faintly visible human form, my scalp tingling with fear. He's awake, I'm done for. I paced restlessly around the room, thinking about how to get him out without anyone noticing and also make sure he wouldn't hold me accountable. The next second, he emerged, naked. "I'm blind, you." My first reaction was to fly to the door and lock it. "Why aren't you wearing any clothes?" He leisurely walked to the bedside, covering himself with the blanket, his gaze drifting aimlessly toward me. "No clothes." I was absolutely horrified. "You came here naked yesterday." I cried, "Had too much to drink, threw up all over myself." He calmly leaned against the headboard, picking up his phone to fiddle with. It seemed like he was waiting for me to come up with a solution for him. I was going crazy. "Just you wait." I quickly threw on my clothes and, without even washing my face or combing my hair, pulled open the door and rushed out, anxiously adding, "Don't go out, lock the door from the inside, and don't open it for anyone." "As you wish." He looked at me with amusement, but at least he was obedient. As soon as I stepped out, I ran into my mom, and in a panic, I quickly blocked the doorway. "Why is your face so red?" She was holding breakfast and motioned for me to come over and eat. "It's a bit hot." I frantically fanned myself with my hands, bent down, picked up the trash, and left. "You're not eating breakfast, where are you going?" my mom called after me, taking out the trash. I kept my head down and ran all the way. When I arrived at the supermarket downstairs, the shopkeeper saw me lingering in front of the underwear aisle and walked over with interest. "Buying for your dad?" I casually grabbed one, trying to get away with it, but she pressed down on my hand. "It's too small, your dad's belly is so big, he needs this one." He's on a diet." I snatched the one she had put back into my hand, then ran to the clothing section and grabbed a sports t-shirt and shorts. While paying, the shop owner scanned the items with a strange smile. "Did you get a boyfriend?" I was so startled that my face immediately flushed red. No, my cousin is here. I bought it for him." I grabbed my clothes and took off running. When I ran back home, my mom saw how flustered I looked and asked, "Why are you so out of breath? What were you doing?" "Morning run." I jogged in place a few steps, hid the plastic bag behind my back, then opened the door and slipped into my room, locking it from the inside. Once I had calmed myself down, I threw the plastic bag to him. His hands, which had been busy playing games, finally stopped. He glanced at me, then at the bag. He didn't say a word, nor did he move. "Don't like my attitude." I hesitated for a few seconds, pulled out the clothes, and laid them out one by one in front of him, lowering my voice. "This is all they have downstairs. Can you make do with it?" "I can make do, but isn't your request a bit too much?" His slender fingers hooked the clothes I bought, glanced at them, and sighed. "Too much in what way? You've already seen everything, and now you want me to go commando." He teased me with a playful look. My mom was knocking on the door again, so annoying. I opened it just a crack. "What did you buy?" "The landlady downstairs said you forgot to take it." With that, my mom handed me a black plastic bag. I took it, opened it, and in less than a second, I quickly closed the bag. "These are my underwear." Guiltily, I closed the door. It turned out that in my panic, I had actually forgotten to take the underwear I had bought. "I think my life is pretty much over." I turned my back, waiting for him to get dressed, then crouched down in front of him, earnestly explaining everything to him. "This is all just a misunderstanding," I said. He was still playing his game, with an attitude that said, "Go on, keep making things up. Later, when we go out, could you cooperate with me a little?" I softened my voice. "Today is the weekend, and most likely my parents will be at home all day, so making him disappear out of thin air is impossible." He didn't answer me. Looking at his arrogant demeanor, I deeply regretted my earlier actions. Finally, after he finished a round of the game, he stopped and stared straight at me, lowering his voice to ask, "Wasn't I cooperative enough with you last night?" He reached out, pressed a finger to my forehead, and drawled, "Auntie, one must not be insatiably greedy. Auntie, yesterday you called me sister, and after one night's sleep, you're calling me auntie. dog of a man, I slumped to the ground. What, does he want to threaten me? What do you want? What do you think? He retorted, well, thinking you can negotiate with me just because you're a bit good looking. I glanced at the birthday gift my mom gave me on the dressing table, picked it up, and handed it to him. This bag is brand new. Take it and give it to your little girlfriend. Alright, finding a male escort wouldn't even cost this much. I was genuinely heartbroken. He glanced at me, stood up, and looked down at me. Fine, I'll leave it with you for now. With that, he walked toward the door, opened it with a flourish, and stepped out. My mind went completely blank. I ran to the door, pressed my ear against it, and listened for any sounds from outside. The door was pushed open, and it was my mom. Why aren't you up yet? Your dad's boss's son is already awake. Come out quickly, what's going on? I was dragged to the dining table and saw him sitting lazily there. My dad was also extremely enthusiastic, serving him porridge and pouring him a cup of soy milk. I was pressed onto the stool by my mom, feeling as if sitting on pins and needles. Xiaojiang, look. We don't know your taste preferences. Would you like soy milk or milk? My dad pushed all the breakfast options in front of him. As for me, there were only 2 plain steamed buns in front of me. Give it to sister, she loves it. He pushed the soy milk toward me. Am I being too dirty-minded? Why do I feel like there's more to his words? For a moment, the atmosphere was a bit awkward. You too. My dad looked at him and then at me. While I kept my head down, I forgot to introduce you. This is my daughter, Sui. She's older than you, by 6 years. You should call her sister. Look at him, so polite. My mother stepped on my foot, signaling me to say hello. My foot hurt badly. I suspect my mother forgot who her real daughter is. I'm not polite, but is he any better? Hello there, I said with a forced smile. Little brother, help yourself to more food. I pushed the steamed bun toward him. He looked up, raised an eyebrow slightly, and said nothing. Instead, he picked up a steamed bun, not eating it, but just observed it while smiling. His smile made me uneasy. Is he even human? Did you sleep well last night? I didn't see you in the guest room and thought you had left. My dad started asking him about his well-being. Instead of answering directly, he looked at me. Is the answer written on my face? I'm just an innocent foodie, probably because I went to the restroom. He started putting down his chopsticks, looking like he had little appetite. I didn't sleep well in the first half of the night. I'm not used to the bed. I, who was sleeping next to me last night, sleeping like a log, pressing down so hard I didn't dare move a hair. Uncle was also drunk last night and didn't take good care of you. Please don't mind. My dad looked troubled, clearly pressured by his boss's authority. I slept quite well in the second half of the night. He smiled and looked at me again. Damn man, why don't you just say it outright? Tormenting my poor heart like this. These younger guys nowadays are really not to be messed with. After finally making it through the meal, my dad said he would drive him back. Dad, you rest, I'll drive him, I volunteered, actually afraid he might sell me out. Alright, you young people have more in common to talk about. My dad seemed a bit awkward, probably not understanding why I suddenly became so enthusiastic. No, I'd still like to trouble you, uncle, to take me back, he said with a smile. Turning me down. Since he put it that way, my dad naturally couldn't say much and quickly finished eating to get ready to head out. While they were busy, I walked up to him and quietly asked, "Why won't you let me take you? What are you up to?" He lowered his head, his lips almost brushing against my face, and said, "Next time, let me rest a bit, okay?" As an old auntie, I was blushing from his words and instantly jumped away. "Don't you dare mess around," I warned him in a low voice. "When have I ever?" He shrugged helplessly. "If it weren't for you, last night, who was the one messing around? Damn it, he's laughing again." Shut up, I wish I could seal his mouth with tape. Wild last night, shy today. He stared at my flushed face, laughing even more freely. "Get lost, I'm leaving." He waved at me. "Don't miss me too much." After saying that, he acted as if nothing had happened and followed my dad downstairs. As soon as he left, my mom sneakily leaned in. "Your dad's boss's son is so handsome," my mom exclaimed. "I really want to have him." I looked at my mom and felt a faint green glow above my dad's head. I said I really wish I could have a son-in-law like that. Don't get the wrong idea, my mom glared at me. Oh, I realized I had overthought it, but wait, sorry, I'm not capable enough to find you a son-in-law like that. Even if you were capable, you still couldn't find one. My mom sighed deeply, looking up at the sky. I heard that little Jiang is about to get engaged soon. Engaged? I almost gritted my teeth to pieces. Yes, with the daughter of another company's CEO. A powerful alliance. My mother looked me up and down and shook her head. My heart sank, and my mind went completely blank. Doesn't that make what I did to him last night utterly unforgivable? I'm done for. I'm done for. What are you spacing out for? My mother glanced at me. I think your dad might get promoted once their two companies join forces. He's been waiting for this day for a long time. Oh, that's good, I stammered in response to my mom, my heart racing with panic. I'm really afraid my dad won't be able to wait, after all. If Xiao Zhang's fiancé finds out about what happened between him and me, the engagement will be ruined. Later, I spent several anxious days at home and finally couldn't hold back. I took advantage of my dad's shower time to sneak a look at his phone. I found that person's phone number, quickly wrote it down, and returned to my room. I held my phone and sent a friend request to this number, but there was no acceptance for a long time. I sent another message, I'm Sui, please add me. By the next day, there was still no acceptance, only a reply with a, this is really frustrating. I edited another message, I'm your sister, over there. A reply came quickly this time, which one, which one, how many does he actually have? Well, that's true, sons from wealthy families are all playboys. The one you were at my place that day, I can't remember, I really want to smash his head in. I braced myself and tried to jog his memory. You slept in my room. I unwrapped you like a gift, you had no clothes to wear, and I even bought you clothes downstairs. That, just as I sent it, the friend request was instantly accepted. Auntie, he took the initiative to send 2 words over, making my blood pressure soar. Auntie it is. Then, can I discuss something with you? Yes, about that day. Could you keep it a secret? Look, you were drunk, I was drunk, neither of us was clear-headed. We're both adults, you should have forgotten about it, right? Not speaking. What does that mean? It seems he's not very satisfied. I had no choice but to type again, give me your address, and I'll send you the bag you want. By the way, I've washed your clothes too, I'll send them together. If there's anything else you want, you can mention it, and I'll try my best to accommodate you. There was no response from the other side for a long time. I finally realized that this matter was a bit tricky, so I sent another message. I heard you're getting engaged too. Actually, I'm also going on a blind date, you see, can we just pretend nothing happened? This time, he finally responded, finished talking, finished. I thought for a moment, feeling that the meaning should be clear enough, finished talking, then do you still want me? He paused for a moment, I'm free tonight. I was stunned, and goosebumps rose all over my body. At this moment, can I have it? I can't afford it. Did all my previous words go in vain? Do you even understand what I mean? I asked him. He suddenly sent a voice message. I picked up my phone and held it to my ear. Why do you like using the word even so much? Me. Not long after, another voice message came in. I get it now. Sis, you like it this way. Paired with his lazy voice, the meaning of those words changed, and my face immediately flushed red. My mind went blank, so I quickly threw my phone aside. Did I really say something so embarrassing? How mortifying. Can you be serious for a moment? I'm talking to you about something important. He finally replied with a single word, okay, tell me, what do you want to do? I've learned to be smarter and throw the question back at him. I'll listen to you. So obedient, not being good, afraid you'll make me cry again. Another voice message. He's still laughing. When did I ever? Send me your address. Let's delete each other as friends. I can't be bothered to argue with him. He sent over a string of ellipses. I waited for half an hour but still didn't receive his address, so I sent a, to test the waters, only to be met with a big red exclamation mark. Well, I'd been deleted it is. Then, I felt a bit like giving up and letting things fall apart. I didn't care anymore. Another week passed, and my dad said his boss's son had run into some issues with his engagement. At this moment, the chips in my hand just don't taste good anymore. My boss has been in a terrible mood lately. I heard he beat up Xiao Jiang and kicked him out of the house. My dad frantically shared his difficult situation in the family group chat. Xiao Jiang is so handsome. If he were my son, I wouldn't have the heart to hit him, my mom said with a pained expression, as if Jiang Ziqing were her own son. Meanwhile, I've been lurking in the group, trying to subtly confirm that this incident has nothing to do with me. Dad, why is that? Is there still hope for your promotion? I carefully considered my words, trying not to reveal any trace of my thoughts. What else could it be? The young guy is handsome and was caught dating several girlfriends at the same time. Sigh. Oh, so he's a playboy after all. serves him right. I instantly felt relieved in my heart. After all, it has nothing to do with me. I heard he was chatting inappropriately with a girl on WeChat. Apparently, they spent the night together. And the girl even wanted to return his clothes, asking him to keep it a secret. His girlfriend caught the WeChat chat history on the spot. Wait, is my dad hinting at me? I was so scared that I dropped my phone on the floor. The group chat was still buzzing. So I clicked to see what was being said. It was my mom's message. Are girls these days really that bold? If our Suyi were even half as bold as that girl, she wouldn't still be single. Damn, I wanted to say, your daughter is so bold that even she's scared of herself. I immediately left the group chat, turned off my phone, and started breaking out in a cold sweat all over. I carefully recalled the conversation from that day. Could it have been his little girlfriend who deleted me? The more I thought about it, the more terrifying it seemed. I immediately opened WeChat, changed my profile picture, and set my moments to visible only to myself. In the evening, the three of us sat together for dinner. I kept my head down, biding my time and growing steadily. Why did you leave the group chat? My mom asked suspiciously. Did I leave? Let me check. My acting was as steady as ever. After finishing his meal, my dad went to take a shower first. Then came back with a pair of underwear and confronted my mom. When did you buy this for me? Don't you know what size I wear? Me? My mom looked at my dad, then at me, pinching her pants. These aren't yours. I never bought anything this expensive. Then, with perfect synchronization, they both turned to look at me. I nervously swallowed, hesitating for half a minute. Could they have fallen from upstairs? They both froze for a few seconds, then nodded in agreement. I finally breathed a sigh of relief and volunteered to take the pants back upstairs, but I wasn't really returning them. I wandered around the garden downstairs with the pants for half an hour, my head aching at the thought of Jiang Ziqing. These were his pants. After washing them, I had hung them in my own bedroom, but somehow my mom found them and washed them again. The thought of his clothes being in my closet was just too risky. It was driving me crazy. I dawdled and finally returned home after the sun had set. As soon as I got home, I saw that face and instinctively stepped back, checking the house number. Only after confirming I hadn't gone to the wrong place did I reluctantly step inside. Who else could be sitting upright on the sofa, playing with their phone, if not Jiang Ziqing? Xiaoyi, come here. My dad called me with a serious expression. My heart skipped a beat. It's over. The secret is out. Trembling with fear, I walked over and gasped at the sight of the wound on Jiang Ziqing's neck and the torn knee of his jeans. What's wrong, Dad? I stood obediently beside him, nervously twisting my fingers. Jiang Ziqing finally stopped playing his game, looked up at me, and gave a faint smile that sent a chill down my spine. What time is it? And he still dares to play games. It's like this. Xiao Jiang might be staying with us for a while. During this time, you can help him catch up on advanced mathematics. Aren't you pretty good at math? Tutoring. I breathed a sigh of relief. Wait, advanced mathematics? Dad, I'm not very good at advanced mathematics. I was dumbfounded. My dad glanced at me, stood up, and pulled me aside. Didn't you get a perfect score in advanced mathematics once in college? Don't be modest. Whether I can get promoted this time depends entirely on this. Could I say that I had copied back then? I copied until the end, thinking I couldn't have the exact same answers as someone else, so I randomly changed a multiple-choice question. Unexpectedly, I ended up with a perfect score of 100, while that classmate only got 95. No, Dad, why is he staying at our house? Doesn't he have a home of his own? I was really getting a headache. I had finally managed to get away from him. Isn't this just going to be the death of me? Shoo, keep your voice down. My dad shot me a look. He got kicked out by his boss. That's why he came to our house. Think about it, Xiao Jiang is still his son after all. I heard he's failing a lot of classes. If you can help him catch up, there's hope for my promotion. Dad, I have a feeling your promotion is hopeless, I said weakly. Dad will take that as you saying the opposite. Starting today, you're tutoring him. Get ready. After my dad left, I pulled him inside the door. What are you doing coming to my house? He gently furrowed his brow. It hurts. I let go, lifted his sleeve, and saw scars on his arm as well. I was shocked. Don't look. He pulled down his long sleeve and smiled. It won't kill me. Why did your dad hit you so hard? I was starting to feel a bit sorry for him. Anyway, it's not because of you. He glanced down at me, lazily walked over to my desk and sat down, then started playing with his phone again. Not because of me. I felt a little less guilty. If it's not because of me, that's good. Don't you have anywhere else to go? Why come to my place? What if your girlfriend misunderstands? He really has a lot of nerve, isn't he about to get engaged, yet still acting so recklessly? He stopped and looked up at me. Are you kicking me out? Can I even keep you? I heard from my dad that your girlfriend saw our chat that day. How dare you still come here? What if she shows up? It's really hard to communicate with him honestly. He leaned back in my chair, looking completely unconcerned. So what if she does? He really is more of a lost cause than I am. Are you giving a lecture tonight? He suddenly asked softly. I'm really bad at math, I admitted. I know, so, you can teach me something else. He chuckled, trying to provoke me again. I'm really annoyed. I was clearly discussing serious matters with him, yet every single one of my 3 sentences was completely under his control. Isn't he just a younger brother? Even if I taught you, with your current state, could you actually put it into practice? I rolled my eyes at him. He suddenly pursed his lips, unable to hold back his laughter. Feeling a bit uneasy from his laughter, I pretended to pick up a book, trying to retrieve the lost memories of mathematics. He reached out his finger to my book, pressing it down directly, staring straight at me. Want to give it a try? My heart skipped a beat, and my face immediately flushed bright red. I quickly straightened the book again, trying to look serious. Today's content is self-study. Oh, he glanced at me with a smile, not continuing to tease me. Instead, he picked up other books on my desk and started flipping through them casually. He sat beside me. I played with my phone while he read, and his phone on the table kept vibrating nonstop, with messages coming in one after another. Don't you check your messages? I pointed at his phone. He didn't even bother to lift his head, lazily saying, annoyed by the noise, turn it off for me, you. I was truly speechless. Aren't you afraid I'll see the secrets on your phone? He glanced up at me. No secrets. After saying that, he seemed to lose interest and ran to my balcony to smoke. I have OCD, so I had to open his phone. The screen showed hundreds of missed calls and unread messages. All of them were from someone with the contact name Xiao. If I'm not mistaken, this should be his little girlfriend, the fiancé. TSK, how heartless. I quickly turned it off for him. Did your engagement with your little girlfriend really fall through? I walked over and handed him the phone, the smell of smoke making me a bit uncomfortable. He glanced at me, moving the hand holding the cigarette behind his back, and I finally felt a bit better. Do you want it to fall through? He asked me with a smile. I was left speechless. What do you mean? I want it. I'm not the type to break up a happy couple. Of course, I want things to work out for you. My dad said that if you two joined forces, he might even get a raise. What good would it do me if you split up? I said all this in one breath, making my stance clear. His face remained calm and expressionless. He looked at me for a moment, then shifted his gaze out the window. Tell me the truth. What exactly are you after by coming here? Shouldn't you go back and comfort your girlfriend? And do whatever you need to do? I, as an outsider, am practically dying of anxiety. He finally turned his head to glance at me and sighed, for some peace and quiet. Good grief, I can see that his fiancée is practically going crazy with worry, and their home is probably in chaos, yet here he is, running to my place seeking peace and quiet. What a heartless man. You don't have to be afraid, I'll only be here for a few days. He looked me up and down, then averted his gaze. For someone like you, Auntie, I really can't get interested unless the lights are off. Do you have any manners? I was so angry I almost rushed over and threw him off the balcony. Seeing me angry, he actually laughed. I already called you Auntie. What more do you want to be considered polite? I was left speechless by his remark. For a moment, my head was buzzing, and I actually didn't know how to refute him. By the time I figured out how to retort, he had already left my room. So infuriating. In the following days, we basically kept to ourselves and didn't interfere with each other. Every night, he would come to my room and pretend to ask me to tutor him for an hour. Actually, he's been reading my comic books on his own. I don't understand my dad's logic. Does he really think he can get promoted by currying favor with the boss's son? Looking at how Jiang Ziqing has been here for a few days and no one has come to see him, I suspect he's already in a tough spot himself. How long do you plan to freeload at my place? I asked him while sitting nearby, playing a game. He didn't turn back to look at me, until my dad threw me abroad. Studying abroad? I asked. Sort of. He didn't intend to pay me any attention. Studying abroad is great. You come back with a golden touch and become a top talent. Which school did you go to? I casually mentioned it. He stopped and said self-mockingly, let's see which school he's throwing money at. This much money. This is an opportunity many people dream of, yet he looks down on it so much. truly a young master who knows nothing of the hardships of life. Suddenly feeling a surge of kindness, I wanted to persuade him, actually, your dad treats you quite well, even though he hits you, he still cares about your future and is willing to spend money for it. He paused for a moment, a faint smile curling at the corner of his lips. After all, he never spent any time on me, only money. With that, he set the book down and headed to the balcony for another smoke. Isn't he already 20? Why is he still going through a rebellious phase? During the 30 seconds my game character was dead, I walked over to the balcony and stared at him. I had a whole lecture in mind, but the moment he looked back at me, my mind went blank, and I forgot everything. You're just a kid, why do you like smoking so much? He moved his hand holding the cigarette to the other side, looking down at me. Whether I'm a kid or not, it's not like you don't know. I was left speechless again. The scene from that night flashed through my mind, and suddenly I felt my cheeks grow a little warm. I quickly changed the subject on purpose. Smoking is bad for you. Why don't you know what's good for you? He paused for a moment, then asked me quietly, you care about me. I tried to advise you, but if you won't listen, then forget it. He fell silent, and after a long pause, he added, you're just like them. Why should I have to live my life according to others' advice? There was emotion in his tone, and though I didn't understand why, I could sense he was very upset. How rebellious. You don't have to listen to everything, you can choose what to listen to. I tried to phrase it carefully, you don't need to go against your family like this, right? He had been staying here for a few days, ignoring calls from his family and not answering or returning his girlfriend's calls. It seemed like he was determined to completely oppose his family. Seeing that his departure was nowhere in sight, I was starting to get a little anxious. Then what do you think is right? He asked me with a smile, his emotions already calmed down. Everything can be discussed, but what's the point of not answering the phone? He stared at me for a moment. I thought he was going to argue with me again, but he just said, I'm going to sleep. After saying that, he waved his hand at me and left me with only his back. So arrogant. If he were my brother, I would have beaten him to death long ago. How rude. I couldn't help but curse. He stopped at the door, remained silent for a while, then turned back to stand in front of me, lowering his head with a smile. He asked, then what would be considered polite? You shouldn't just walk away while someone is still talking. Didn't your mother teach you that? I took half a step back, his smile froze. Something flickered in his eyes, and he spoke softly, I wasn't taught. He must be lying, unwilling to listen and dragging his own mother into it. Can't be bothered to talk to you. I wasn't going to argue with him anymore. There was no point in discussing it further. He suddenly took a step back, looked up, and said, she's dead. After saying that, he walked out of my room without any hesitation. For a moment, my mind went completely blank, and I was utterly stunned. His mother is gone. I never heard my dad mention that. By the time I came to my senses, he had already left. I think I might have done something wrong. Lying in bed at night, I recalled the way he said, she's dead. He said it so casually, yet why did I feel such deep sorrow from him? Thinking about my words, didn't your mother teach you? I just want to slap myself, unable to sleep in the middle of the night due to guilt. I got up in the dark and went to his room. I was afraid the noise would draw attention. So I pushed open his door barefoot and wrapped in my pajamas. He didn't even lock the door. Using my phone as a flashlight, I tiptoed over to his side. He was asleep. His sleeping face was actually like this, without any expression. It looked even more ascetic. I hesitated about whether to wake him up and apologize. After thinking for half a minute, I felt I was being a bit neurotic and was afraid of scaring him, so I decided to sneak out quietly and talk about it tomorrow. Just as I was about to leave, my hand was grabbed. I was quite startled, and then my mouth was gently covered by him. A pair of cold, clear eyes met mine under the dim light for a few seconds. After recognizing who I was, he gradually let go. What are you doing? I shook off his hand. He lay back down, sneering. You come to my room in the middle of the night and ask me what I'm doing. I suddenly remembered why I had come, but having to apologize to someone out of the blue made me feel awkward, so I stammered, I shouldn't have said that today. I didn't know your mother had passed away. He looked at me, as if he had heard, yet as if he hadn't, his expression blank. I had no choice but to continue. I shouldn't have brought up your painful past. I apologize. He remained silent, instead picking up his phone to glance at the time. Don't worry about what others say, you're a good person. He put down his phone and let out a light chuckle. A good person. I organized my thoughts. It's pretty good, although you have a bad temper. I've never seen you hit anyone, although you're quite rebellious, I've never seen you curse at your dad, although you're quite a jerk. You haven't been a jerk to me. The more I spoke, the more uneasy I felt. My praise was indeed quite forced. Seeing me stop, he suddenly smiled, though I couldn't tell if he took it to heart. I felt a bit uneasy. There are still 3 hours until dawn, he suddenly said, staring straight at me. If you're going to, then hurry up. I'm not. I came to apologize. What does he think I'm here for? Not what? He suddenly propped himself up. His entire face suddenly magnified before me. My breath stopped, and I actually forgot to step back. I want to go back. But before I could finish the 3 words, a sudden warmth touched my lips. By the time I reacted and tried to push him away, he gave me no chance to catch my breath. Immediately reaching out to hold my head in place, my mind began to buzz, and I couldn't think straight at all. After kissing for a while, he finally released me for a few seconds, breathing softly and hoarsely asking in my ear, "Did you lock the door?" I was startled and immediately came to my senses, pushing him away. "It's not locked. I need to go back." This time, before he could react, I dashed out like the wind, not caring about my image at all. It was practically a scramble. When I got back to my room, I realized I was so nervous that I could hear my own heart pounding loudly. I barely slept again that night. I feel guilty for having such a strong attraction to a man who is already taken, tossing and turning. I decided to keep my distance from him. I can't cross this line any further. The next morning, I woke up to find him sitting at the dining table, having breakfast. My heart skipped a beat. Doesn't he usually sleep until the sun is high in the sky? Why is he up so early today? I grabbed a carton of milk and took off running. He looked up and stared at me for a few seconds, saying nothing. As I was about to leave, he suddenly stepped in front of me, hesitating as if he wanted to say something. Flustered, I put on my shoes and walked to the elevator to wait, but he beat me to it and pressed the button for the down elevator. "You are going out." The waiting time made the atmosphere somewhat awkward. I glanced up at him. He seemed to have just washed his hair, which had grown a bit long, almost covering his eyes. He didn't answer, just kept looking at me. In the end, unable to withstand his gaze, I averted my eyes. The elevator reached the basement level, and he suddenly stopped at the garage entrance, just looking at me. "You get off work at 5 p.m., right?" I was a bit confused by his question. "Yes, why do you ask?" He put his hands in his pockets, looking at me lazily, and said gently, "Waiting for you." My heart was struck hard by his words, and I was so startled that I got into the car without looking back. When I came to my senses, I couldn't help but start thinking about what he meant by "wait for me." My mind was about to explode from thinking, but I still couldn't understand his intentions. Even at work, all I could think about was how he kissed me last night. I was going crazy. I finally made it through the workday, only to receive another text from him, "Bring me a cup of milk tea." I glanced at it. "No time, working overtime?" he asked again. I was taken aback, not sure why he was suddenly so enthusiastic toward me. What exactly did he want? A date? I replied bluntly. Actually, it was a dinner with colleagues from the office. I hadn't planned on going, but now I decided to. He only sent a question mark. "The company's heartthrob asked me out to a movie, so let my mom know I won't be back for dinner." I simply made up a reason that would cut off his hopes and also my own. He didn't reply to my message again, even though I checked my phone dozens of times during the dinner gathering. I never received another message from him. He must have understood. My goal was achieved. Yet I felt a strange emotion. After the meal, everyone went to KTV to sing and drink. Thanks to my colleagues' persuasion skills, by the end of the drinking session, I had even forgotten who Jiang Ziqing was. But who would have thought that at that moment, I saw him again. He was smoking with a group of people near the restroom. My first reaction upon seeing him was to run, but having drunk too much and unable to hold it in, I braced myself and headed to the restroom under the watchful eyes of him and his group of friends. When I came out, his group was still there, laughing and joking shamelessly beside me. "Got your eye on that auntie?" He didn't say a word, just looked at me with a meaningful expression. "Such a hot auntie. If you're not going for her, I will." Hearing this, I couldn't help but look up while washing my hands, only to see a boy with gray hair staring straight at me. I glanced at Jiang Ziqing, who didn't say a word, just blowing smoke rings. I couldn't hold back, staggering over to glare at the boy. "I'm his sister, you little brat." How rude. That group of people suddenly started laughing and making a commotion. "Jiang Ziqing, when did you get such a beautiful sister? Keeping her hidden from us, huh?" The boy with gray hair walked over. "Sister, I see you're drunk." Come play in our private room. I'm not going. I shook off his hand. Today is Jiang Ziqing's birthday. As his older sister, aren't you going to celebrate with him? Huh. I turned to look at Jiang Ziqing, but he averted his gaze, neither speaking nor refuting, as calm and composed as ever. Did he say he was waiting for me today because it's his birthday? I'm starting to feel like I'm being a bit too heartless, and then I think about how he doesn't have a mother either. My sympathy overflows, and I hesitantly reply with a okay. A group of younger brothers are pushing me to leave, but he speaks up. They're all guys. What are you going for? Am I being rejected by him? He really holds a grudge. Then I won't go. I immediately change my tune. Isn't it because I heard it's your birthday? He didn't say anything, pondered for 2 seconds, and then casually remarked, "What's so great about celebrating a birthday?" Alright then, since he said that. It seems I was just being overly sentimental. Goodbye, have fun, I awkwardly said to them, and was about to walk away. Just as I took a step, I bumped into a human wall. Looking up, I saw Jiang Ziqing watching me through the smoke. Come if you want. Me, who just told me to leave, who said there's nothing special about a birthday. I don't want to anymore. I rolled my eyes at him. He froze for a few seconds, then suddenly smiled, leaned down, and whispered in my ear. That's the one thing I can't believe. He smiled meaningfully. My face flushed instantly, my mind clouded. Let's go. He stepped aside, took my wrist, and led me to his private room. He seemed to be in a genuinely good mood tonight, sitting right in the center. Many people came to toast him, and he just smiled, accepting every drink without refusal. After drinking for an hour, I sat beside him, and the alcohol had mostly worn off. How old are you turning today? I quietly asked him between sips of wine. Because the private room was too noisy, he had to lean close to my ear for me to hear him clearly. 22. I remember you said a different number last time, even after drinking. I wasn't that foolish. He paused for a moment. 21. Can this really change? How old is he really? Don't talk nonsense. It's not my fault for speaking so loudly, because the music suddenly stopped, and as a result, everyone around heard, "Sis, he's only 20. Afraid you'd think he's too young." A group of people started laughing. I was speechless. Haven't you had enough to drink? Still got the energy to talk? He glared at his friend with a dark expression. Alright, everyone has fallen silent. Another round of toasts began, and I couldn't help but frown. How am I supposed to get him home later when he's completely drunk? As he raised his glass again, I quietly tugged at the corner of his clothes. You, drink a little less. He lowered his head and looked at me, worried about me. I'm worried I won't be able to get you back. Drinking too much isn't good for a child's health, I earnestly advised him. He downed the wine in his hand in one gulp, leaned close to my ear, and said, "Don't worry, even after drinking, I still have the strength to handle you, sister." Damn it, my heart suddenly started beating so fast, even though I desperately tried to control it. My relationship with him kept veering further off track. I had no choice but to pretend not to understand and nervously play with my phone. We drank until late into the night. My mom had no idea how many messages she sent me, and he still hadn't finished. I'm already tired. A child's energy is really something I can't compare to. When it ended in the early morning, I wanted to help him get a taxi, but he stood perfectly straight. I didn't expect him to be such a heavy drinker. Later when we get back, move quietly and don't wake my parents. They're already asleep, I reminded him uneasily in the taxi. He turned his body over and casually remarked, "Going to a hotel won't disturb anyone." I pushed his body aside and moved to sit a bit farther away from him. Jiang Ziqing. This was so gentle, unlike anything I'd ever heard, and I almost fell for it right then and there. "We can't do this." I hesitated, then said, "Forget it, you're drunk. I can't reason with you, if you can't reason with me." He leaned in again, close to my ear, and softly whispered a single word, "Then do it." My face flushed as red as a cooked shrimp. I was afraid the driver might hear, so I didn't dare make a scene. He even pushed his luck further, adding, "How about going to a hotel?" I held back from speaking and ignored him. Finally, when we got off the bus, I pulled him off and waited for the bus to leave before I couldn't hold back my anger. "Jiang Ziqing, what exactly are you trying to do? Why do you always say things that give people the wrong impression?" "What did I do?" He sat on the edge of the flower bed, smiling as he looked at me, inviting me to a hotel. "Are you out of your mind?" I stormed off in anger, and he still had the nerve. "You were the one who said you were afraid of waking them up." He looked completely innocent. Could it be that I was overthinking things? "Even so, we can't go to a hotel. Is that a place just anyone can go? Does he even understand? He sighed and reached for my hand. Don't be angry. I avoided his hand. Let's go back. I walked ahead, but my hand was suddenly grabbed by him. What do you want now? I was speechless with him, wondering what drunken nonsense he was up to. He held on to me, refusing to let go, just sitting there, staring at me the whole time. Finally, as if he had lost his patience, he pulled me into his arms, and I fell right onto his lap. Give me 5 minutes, he whispered in my ear. What do you need 5 minutes for? I'm going up to sleep. He stared at me, his eyes sparkling like stars, and whispered, I want a birthday gift. I didn't prepare one, there's one ready-made. As soon as he finished speaking, his kiss landed. His kiss carried a faint hint of tobacco and the sweet clarity of red wine, leaving my mind completely blank. At first, his movements were urgent and intense, but gradually they softened into tenderness and lingering affection. I knew this was terribly wrong, but in that moment, I couldn't bring myself to push him away. When he finally had his fill and released me, I gasped for air as if I had been drowning. You go up first. He pulled out a cigarette and lit it, smoking again. My mind wasn't clear, and I felt a bit annoyed, trudging sullenly upstairs. Don't be angry. He probably noticed I was upset and grabbed me. Let me catch my breath. His gaze drifted down to himself, and he let out a sigh. I followed his gaze and was instantly so frightened that I didn't have time to think before running to press the elevator button. Back in the room, I buried myself under the covers, thinking about everything that had happened today, both excited and with a headache. What should I do? It seems I've fallen for someone I shouldn't have, and he's even younger than me. After washing up, I lay in bed, unable to fall asleep for a long time. Hearing the faint sounds of him returning home, my heart, which had just calmed down, started racing again. He walked softly to my door and stopped. I held my breath. After a few seconds, the expected knock didn't come, but a text message flashed on my phone. I really like the birthday gift. Don't overthink it. See you tomorrow morning. I stared at the screen. I recognized every word, but I couldn't make sense of them when strung together. So, does he like the gift, or does he like me? What should I do? I spent the whole night thinking, tossing and turning in a daze, unable to sleep. Fortunately, the next day was the weekend, so I didn't have to go to work. When I woke up, it was already 10 in the morning. After a night of reflection, the thought of seeing him again soon actually made me feel a little excited. I spent some time in my room getting ready, putting on makeup, and picking out a little purple dress. After carefully covering the dark circles under my eyes a few times, I slowly stepped out of the room. Walking over to the sofa and seeing his back, my heart started beating a little faster again. As I walked around the sofa, my nervousness hadn't yet eased when, the next second, I froze upon seeing the face of the young girl sitting next to him. You must be the older sister who tutors him, she said, smiling like an adorable little kitten, soft and cute. I didn't speak, glancing nervously at Jiang Ziqing, who remained completely calm. My heart sank. I replied, sitting down beside them. Sui, this is Xiao Xiao, Xiao Zhang's fiancé, here to see him, my father said warmly, bringing over a fruit platter. I know, it seems my dad's wish is about to come true. Oh, I took a piece of watermelon and stuffed it into my mouth, but it didn't have much flavor. Didn't you make plans to go out with your classmates? My dad gave me a look. I was a bit confused. When did I make plans with my classmates? Soon, I snapped back to reality and immediately stood up, just in time to hear my dad say, you two young people, if you have something to discuss, talk it out properly, don't get upset over every little thing. This remark was directed at them. Xiao Xiao obediently replied, understood, uncle. After saying that, she picked up a piece of watermelon and went to feed Jiang Ziqing. Jiang Ziqing didn't open his mouth, turning his face to look at me, which made me feel a bit awkward. I feel that standing here is particularly inappropriate. Then I'll head out, you two chat. I turned and walked toward the room. You and I have nothing to discuss. Aren't you tired of this? Just delete me. Okay. Standing in the room, I couldn't help but eavesdrop on their conversation. Most of the time, it was Xiao Xiao crying and sobbing, and I couldn't make out what she was saying. Jiang Ziqing didn't say much, only occasionally interjecting a word or two, clearly impatient. I clutched my skirt and finally let out a sigh, feeling a bit ridiculous. No matter how much they argue, they are still going to get engaged. What does that make me? I walked dejectedly to the mirror, looked at my own face, and then thought of Xiao Xiao's face, suddenly feeling drained of energy. Youth is truly a blessing. Jiang Ziqing is only 20 years old, and that Xiao Xiao is probably around the same age. While I'm already 26, what do I have to compete with them? Besides, he's the son of my dad's boss. What am I even thinking? As I was thinking this, my mom ran over and asked me suspiciously, feeling jealous as a single dog. She gestured with her eyes toward the outside. What am I jealous of? I was speechless. To be honest, I'm even a bit envious. My mom leaned in close to me and began reminiscing about her own youthful days. Young couples arguing is actually a good thing. The more they argue, the stronger their bond becomes. Mom, I'm not in a good mood, and I suggest you don't provoke me. I really didn't want to hear any more. Why are you in a bad mood? My mom looked utterly incredulous. I couldn't be bothered to explain and just curled up in the chair, scrolling through my phone. Hey, if it were me, I wouldn't be happy either. I think that Xiao Xiao isn't even as pretty as you. How come she managed to find someone as handsome as Xiao Jiang, while my daughter is still single? For a moment, I couldn't tell whether my mom was a friend or a foe. Yesterday, while playing mahjong, I met a friend whose nephew is a doctor. I looked at my mom, wondering what she was really up to. Studying medicine takes a long time, and you just graduated at 28. You haven't found a girlfriend yet, so why not give it a try? Sure enough, my mom never misses a chance to find me a boyfriend, no matter the time or place. I can't even be bothered to respond. Can a boyfriend introduced by friends at the mahjong table really be reliable? I continue to play on my phone. My mom leans in again, saying fiercely, your grandpa has issued an ultimatum. If you don't bring a boyfriend home this National Day, he won't let you in the door. They're so old. Yet all they know is love and romance. Can you make some effort? Every time I go back to my hometown, your mom gets asked if you have a boyfriend. I'm under so much pressure. My mom started playing the victim again. Send me his WeChat. Thinking about the two of them being all lovey-dovey outside, I said with a sigh. I added the doctor on WeChat, but he didn't accept it for a long time. Feeling frustrated, I decided to go downstairs for a walk. As soon as I stepped out, I saw Xiao Xiao sitting beside Jiang Ziqing, crying with tears streaming down her face. Jiang Ziqing, as usual, remained expressionless. I couldn't quite describe the feeling in my heart, so I opened the door and prepared to leave. Where are you going? Jiang Ziqing finally spoke. I never expected that even at this moment, he still had the leisure to pay attention to me. Downstairs, I changed my shoes, turned around, and went downstairs, but I didn't expect that he also got up and followed me downstairs. What's even more absurd is that Xiao Xiao followed along too. So inside the elevator, none of the three of us spoke, and the atmosphere was awkward to the extreme. After stepping out of the elevator, I whispered to him, why are you following me? He glanced down at me, hesitating as if wanting to say something but holding back. You don't know. I was really fed up with him. His little girlfriend was still crying and trailing behind us. How dare he? Don't you want to go comfort her? How come even taking a walk makes me feel like I've committed a heinous crime? He didn't speak, just stared at me. Don't you need someone to comfort you? I was speechless. Don't say things like that anymore. She's your fiancé, I reminded him, who agreed to that. He retorted, how am I supposed to know what's going on between him and her? After a while, he sighed, give me some time, stay away from me. I didn't want to be ambiguous with him under these circumstances. He froze in place, staring at me blankly. Jiang Ziqing, wait for me. I can't keep up. Xiao Xiao hurried forward, her eyes swollen from crying. Who asked you to follow? Jiang Zi's temper was clearly flaring, his tone icy, and the little girl burst into tears again. I couldn't stand it any longer and yelled at him, why are you being so harsh? He froze in place, a rare flicker of anger crossing his usually expressionless face, looking at me as if I owed him something. Sister, please don't argue over me. Jiang Ziqing, don't ignore me. I'll do anything. Xiao Xiao walked over to tug at his clothes, but he coldly avoided her. Don't bother me. Your agreement is your agreement. No one can make decisions for me. How many times do I have to say it? He lost his patience, threw out these words, turned around, and left. It was the first time I had seen him lose his temper. Sister, Xiao Xiao threw herself into my arms, crying so hard her whole body trembled. I stood there awkwardly, too embarrassed to push her away. She cried for a long while before finally lifting her head from my embrace and telling me a whole bunch of things that left my head buzzing. Even though it's an arranged marriage between families, you don't necessarily have to follow their arrangements. Nowadays, it's all about free love, I concluded, but I like him. I've liked him since I was little, and my biggest dream has always been to marry him. As she said this, she seemed as if she were under a spell. I was at a loss for words. Then does he like you? I couldn't help but ask. I know I asked that question with a bit of selfishness. Does it matter? She, who had been crying, suddenly laughed. Anyway, he'll end up being mine in the end. Alright, she's really confident. No, he's still a person after all. If he's unwilling. How do you know he's unwilling? Before I could finish my sentence, she cut me off directly. Their family begged me to get engaged to him. She looked at me with great pride. My heart skipped a beat. Then I wish you happiness. I had nothing else to say. Perhaps I don't understand. How are these rich second-generation heirs just like ancient princes and princesses, still tools for arranged marriages? I didn't respond to her anymore and went home alone, feeling gloomy. As soon as I got home, a WeChat message arrived. The doctor had accepted my friend request. I hesitated and wrote a note. Lin Feng, sorry, I just had a patient, so I only saw it now, he politely explained to me. I replied without any mood, it's fine. Just after replying, I saw Jiang Ziqing standing on the balcony smoking. He is very tall, probably around 188 centimeters, but also very thin, especially when the light from the balcony shines through, making him look even more frail. I thought of Xiaoxiao's certainty and suddenly felt a bit sorry for Jiang Ziqing. During dinner, he didn't eat much and kept staring at me, making me feel very uncomfortable. I had no choice but to avoid his gaze. My dad served him a chicken drumstick. Jiang, you're so thin, eat more to nourish yourself. Yet he stared at me, disregarding all else, and placed the drumstick in my bowl. She's thin too. My parents looked at the two of us with a strange expression. I'm on a diet, I said, moving my bowl away, and the drumstick fell onto the table. His expression looked somewhat unpleasant. This child. My dad awkwardly tried to ease the tension. Fortunately, a WeChat message came in at that moment, so I buried my head in my phone to chat. It was Lin Feng. Want to take a walk by the river after dinner? I really didn't want to stay with Jiang Ziqing any longer, so I replied, sure, send me the location. Just as I stood up, my mom asked, we're in the middle of dinner. Where are you going? I'm full, going for a walk by the river. As I said this, I noticed Jiang Ziqing also put down his chopsticks. Xiao Jiang, why aren't you eating anymore? My mom looked completely confused. He stood up, glanced at me, and coldly said, aren't you afraid to go to the riverside alone? My heart skipped a beat. Didn't he realize this would make my parents suspect our relationship? How could he be so bold? It's really not safe for a girl to go to the riverside at night. Xiao Jiang, you haven't seen the night view by the river yet, have you? You should go and take a look too. My dad is truly a master at lightening the mood, but I think he's just meddling. How could Jiang Ziqing possibly go for a walk by the river with me? Besides, I have plans with someone else tonight. When I heard Jiang Ziqing's my scalp tingled. Is he really going? I already have plans with someone, I said, forcing myself to speak up. Who did you make plans with? My mom immediately caught the scent of gossip. I didn't dare to look at Jiang Ziqing's expression and sighed. Who else could it be? It's the one you introduced to me. After I finished speaking, the atmosphere fell silent for a moment. What's going on? Does Sui have a boyfriend? My dad also got curious, his expression showing a hint of pleasant surprise. Almost, someone introduced him, and I just gave him the contact information. I didn't expect you two to actually hit it off. Go on, go on. Don't keep him waiting. My mom couldn't hide her joy. Squeak. The sound of the stool being pushed aside was too abrupt, and only then did we notice Jiang Ziqing, who had tossed the stool away and turned to leave. I was speechless. Several seconds later, my dad came to his senses. He might be upset about his fiancée. That's understandable. Are they still not reconciled after their argument? My mom asked. Listening to my parents' conversation, I felt a bit uneasy. Sui, I see you and Xiao Jiang have been getting along quite well lately. Why don't you try to mediate between them? My dad suddenly turned his gaze toward me. I don't want to get involved. Me, a mediator. I'd be more likely to tear them apart than bring them together. We need to think of a solution. It's not a long-term plan for him to keep living here. My mom said, think about it yourselves. I tossed out that sentence and also went out. As soon as I stepped out, I was forcibly pulled into the hallway, startling me so much I almost screamed, seeing clearly that it was Jiang Ziqing. I was so angry I immediately reached out to hit him, yet he didn't dodge at all, just stared straight at me. I was caught by him and guiltily withdrew my hand. What are you doing? I said this, but I was actually quite nervous. You have to understand, this hallway is right outside my house. My mom could see us just by stepping out to take out the trash. He didn't say anything. just lowered his head and forced me to look at him. Speak up if you have something to say, others are waiting for me. I lost my patience. He leaned his body toward me, forcing me against the railing, my back aching. After a moment, he finally asked in a low voice, playing with me. My heart skipped a beat. Who's playing with whom? He clearly has a fiancé, yet he's still flirting with me. Although I was feeling down, I couldn't lose in terms of momentum. We're all adults. So let's not talk about playing around. If we set things straight, we can still be friends. He was taken aback for a moment, paused for a few seconds, and then added, kissing me, sleeping with me. Is that how you communicate with friends? I never kissed you. It was all you who took the initiative. How can you accuse me of what you did? I protested on this point. Clearly, it was him who forced kisses on me several times. Does he have any shame? He suddenly laughed, took a step back, unbuttoned the first button of his shirt, tugged at the collar, and pointed to his collarbone. Then, do you want to kiss me back? I followed the line of his Adam's apple downward, my gaze lingering on his collarbone, and couldn't help but swallow nervously. And no, I'd better not. I turned my face away, not daring to look any longer. If I kept looking, my legs would go weak. He took my hand and brought it directly to his lips, kissing it. The touch sent a shiver through my entire body, and I quickly pulled my hand back. I'll do whatever you want, he said with a smile, pausing for a moment before adding softly, can you please stop making a fuss? His words made my ears tingle, and my firm resolve nearly crumbled once again. I'm not making a fuss, Jiang Ziqing. I steadied my emotions, determined to make things clear. You have Xiao, and I have my own life. I can't keep making mistakes just because of one accidental slip-up. We should both get back on track. He fell silent, his expression suddenly turning very unpleasant. You consider that a mistake? He asked me, word by word. Isn't it? I retorted. I'm 26 this year. I'm not a child anymore. And I don't have time to play those on-again off-again games with you. It was difficult to say these words, and I didn't feel good about it either. He pursed his lips and remained silent for a long time before suddenly letting out a self-mocking laugh. Auntie, you really have a cruel heart. I didn't understand the meaning behind his words. You coaxed me when you bullied me, and now that you've had your fun, you won't acknowledge it. Every word pierced my ears, and I wished I could find a crack in the ground to crawl into. Just then, my phone rang, breaking the silence. I glanced at my phone. It was Lin Feng, probably calling because he noticed I hadn't shown up. My first instinct wasn't to answer the call, but to look at Jiang Ziqing. His face was calm, but the air around him felt heavy and tense. This younger brother is clearly so much younger than me. Why am I afraid of him? I picked up my phone, ready to hang up, but he took it from me. I reached out to grab it, but he stood there motionless, raising his hand just enough that I couldn't reach it. Then I heard Lin Feng's voice. Hello, is this Sui? I couldn't figure out what Jiang Ziqing was up to, so I didn't dare to make a sound. Jiang Ziqing glanced at me with a smile and said leisurely, no. I was really about to cry. Why did he answer my phone? My heart is beating so fast it feels like it's about to leap out of my chest. Then, may I ask who you are? The voice on the other end politely inquired. It was only then that I remembered he had called me via WeChat voice call, making it impossible to lie and say I had dialed the wrong number. I'm done for. Jiang Ziqing looked at me but didn't answer. I kept quiet, not daring to provoke him any further. She is taking a shower. My mind exploded. This guy. I jumped up. This time, he seemed to have a conscience and didn't give me a hard time, returning the phone to me. I'll be right out. That was my cousin just now. Sorry. I really admire this scheming brother of mine, making me stumble over my words as I explained. There was a pause on the other end, sounding half convinced. All right, take your time, no rush. After hanging up the phone, I was just about to settle the score with Jiang Ziqing, but that little rascal had already left, leaving me with nothing but a carefree silhouette. Right after, a text message flashed in. Be a bit more reserved, come back early tonight. I am speechless. What does he care? I simply didn't reply, pressed the elevator button, and hurried downstairs. When I saw Lin Feng, he was dressed very formally, standing by the riverbank answering a phone call. Upon seeing me, he smiled and gestured for me to be quiet. I stood awkwardly to the side, waiting for him to finish his call. Sorry, there was an emergency patient at the hospital. I kept you waiting. As soon as I looked up, I saw his gentle smile. His voice is very distinctive, with an indescribable sense of approachability. It's okay. Work is important. Could I possibly be more important than a patient's well-being? I'm not that unreasonable. After that, the two of us walked and chatted along the way. He can be considered a gentle gentleman. Whenever someone rode past on a bicycle, he always protected me. It's just a bit hard on the feet. I regret wearing high heels for a walk. Shall we go sit over there for a while? His gaze lingered on my ankles, and he slightly furrowed his brow. I was startled and sighed. He had been looking at the road the whole time. When did he notice my feet? All right. I followed him to the tea shop by the river. As soon as I sat down, I wished I could sit here for a lifetime. It was just too painful. Wait here for a bit. I'll be back in 5 minutes. Okay. Once he left, I quickly took my feet out of my shoes to relax. Using my phone's flashlight, I saw that the skin was broken. No wonder it hurt so much. Don't move. Just as I was about to touch the wound with my hand, a voice suddenly came from above my head. I was so startled that I quickly put on my shoes, but he crouched down and gently pressed on my foot. I was utterly mortified. Not wearing shoes was one thing, but after walking for so long, I was really afraid there might be an odor. Dr. Lin, it's a minor issue. No need to worry. I tried to pull my foot back. He didn't mind at all as he squatted on the ground, taking out cotton swabs and disinfectant from a plastic bag. Let me disinfect it for you, to prevent infection. So he had gone to buy medicine just now. I can do it myself. It'll be over in a moment. After all, he's a professional, and I don't seem to have any reason to argue, but it's just too awkward. Just then, my phone buzzed. I took it out and looked at it. Where is my math book? It was Jiang Ziqing. Is he just looking for trouble? When has he ever wanted to read a book? I don't know. If you won't say, then I'll go to your room and look for it myself. I was so angry that smoke was practically coming out of my head. What's wrong? Does it hurt? Lin Feng suddenly looked up and asked me. No, arguing with Jiang Ziqing. I got so worked up I almost forgot Lin Feng was treating my wound. Almost done. His movements became even gentler. Okay. Watching his careful actions, I felt extremely guilty. He was tending to my wound while I was chatting with another man. I scolded myself, trying to snap out of it. Then another text message arrived. Guess what I found? I didn't intend to reply to him. No matter what he found, there's nothing in my room that I should be ashamed of. Then another text message came. Auntie is really too much. She even hid my underwear. What did she take it for? Seeing the text message, my mind felt as if struck by lightning. It just occurred to me that after my mom found out last time, I had casually stuffed his underwear into the drawer of the dressing table. I completely forgot about it afterward, and now there's really no way to explain it. The wind is too strong. Let me walk you back. Lin Feng had already stood up and handed me his suit jacket. My mind was buzzing because of Jiang Ziqing, and I didn't have time to think. After a few dazed seconds, I finally replied, okay. He asked me if I could still walk. Of course, I had to say yes even if I couldn't. Was I supposed to let him carry me? We walked for a while and finally made it downstairs, only to see Jiang Ziqing leaning against the flower bed, smoking, his head tilted back, looking at me with a roguish gaze. My heart skipped a beat. Why did it feel like we were having an affair? My cousin, I explained to Lin Feng. Lin Feng's smile froze for a moment. After several seconds, he handed me my bag and asked, do you want me to walk you up? No need. I quickly refused, as I had no idea when Jiang Ziqing, this ticking time bomb, might explode. Alright, be careful when you shower tonight. Don't let your foot get wet. He reminded me a few times, glanced at Jiang Ziqing, hesitated as if wanting to say more, but ultimately turned and left. I stood frozen in place, not understanding why I felt like Lin Feng didn't seem to like Jiang Ziqing very much. I thought it over carefully, but the lie I told didn't seem to have any obvious flaws. Cousin, just as I was thinking, Jiang Ziqing had already walked up to me, his gaze glancing at my feet, sort of. I couldn't be bothered to argue with him. He looked at me with a smile, leaving me utterly baffled. What a coincidence. He's my cousin. My mind instantly went blank. A wave of suffocation hit my chest, nearly taking my life. You're lying to me. I still refuse to give up. When have I ever lied to you? He sighed, looking at me with amusement. Oh no, that means Lin Feng saw right through my lie on the spot and didn't even call me out on it. I really want to cry for a while. He must have misunderstood. Now I really can't clear my name even if I jump into the Yellow River. What misunderstanding? He asked me in return. You ask what misunderstanding? You must have thought that you and I couldn't finish. Too angry to vent, and utterly embarrassed, he, on the other hand, looked completely calm and even reached out to help me up. I pushed him away, but he came to help me again. I glared at him. and he finally withdrew his hand, walking leisurely beside me. What are you angry about? Haven't we? Jiang Ziqing, don't call my name so casually. He stopped and looked at me. I'm afraid I won't be able to hold back. He really has no shame. I can't be bothered with him. Deliberately keeping a distance. Just a few steps later, my body suddenly felt weightless, startling me into grabbing onto something. Be gentle with those nails. I won't be able to explain it to your aunt and uncle later. As the words fell, I noticed a red mark on his neck from where my nails had scratched him. Put me down. My face flushed with embarrassment. Put you down? How long are you going to keep walking? He looked at me coldly. If your feet hurt, just be honest about it. After saying that, he picked me up without any hesitation and strode toward the elevator. There are surveillance cameras. Just as we were about to enter the elevator, I reminded him to put me down, but the foot he had just stepped into the elevator changed direction, heading toward the stairwell instead. Hey, why not take the elevator? He glanced down at me and said softly, didn't you say there are surveillance cameras? I told you to put me down, not to carry me down the stairs. My feet are about to break. He let me struggle but didn't put me down. After walking down one flight of stairs, he finally set me down. Get on. He walked down a few steps, gesturing for me to climb up so he could carry me on his back. Jiang Ziqing, are you out of your mind? Who wants you to carry me? There's an elevator we could take. I was genuinely amused and annoyed by him. Get on. He paused for a moment. If you don't come up, I'll think you want me to kiss you, threatening me again. But this man is capable of anything. What on earth do you want? I grumbled, but still climbed onto his back. What I want, don't you know? He said, then carried me upstairs on his back. I live on the 10th floor. I think he's gone mad. Since I could never win an argument with him, I chose to keep quiet and obediently stay on his back. Is it heavy? Halfway there, seeing his hair almost soaked with sweat, I couldn't help but ask. It's manageable. He smiled and continued walking. I didn't know what he was holding on to. Maybe you should put me down. I was afraid he wouldn't be able to get up tomorrow after climbing the stairs. If you're worried I'll get tired, then behave yourself. He snapped back. Me, ungrateful is practically his true nature. I'm leaving tomorrow, he suddenly said. I was startled in my heart. Oh, another long silence followed. Made up with your dad? I asked again, sort of. His mood seemed inexplicably low. Congratulations to you. It's good that you've made up. He can finally leave my house now. Is he going to get engaged to that Xiao Xiao? It should be a good thing. But for some reason, I feel an indescribable emotion in my heart, so eager for me to leave. He suddenly stopped and asked me, could it be that you plan to stay at my house for a lifetime? I casually remarked. He froze in place, motionless. I might go abroad for 3 or 4 years. He sighed and continued walking up. That's great. With so many beautiful girls abroad, you're in for a treat. A perfectly normal sentence, when spoken by me, was unexpectedly filled with a sour tone. He didn't speak. The atmosphere later became so stifling that I wanted to just jump off and walk on my own. I looked at his hair damp with sweat, at his reflection in the stairwell, and calculated his age 3 or 4 years from now. In 3 or 4 years, he would only be 24, still in the prime of his youth, while I would be nearly 30. For the first time, I felt the pressure of age, and it was because of a boy with whom I was destined to have no connection. Sui. He suddenly called my name. This was the first time he had called me by my name, and it felt strange. What's up, you? He paused for a moment. How old do you plan to be when you get married? My heart skipped a beat. I haven't thought about it. Then think about it. This is all so mysterious and confusing. How am I supposed to figure it out right away? Marriage isn't something you can just decide on the spot, especially since I don't even have a boyfriend. I'm asking you a question, he urges me. So annoying. 26, I guess. I casually threw out an age to brush him off. He visibly stiffened, then looked a bit displeased. Why are you so careless about it? How am I being careless? I've thought it through carefully. How is that careless? Get married at 26, have a baby at 27, and a second child by 30. Isn't that the usual plan? What do you, a kid, know about it? My mom's theory is deeply ingrained in my mind, and I have it memorized by heart. Can't you change it up a bit? He asked again. Change for what? That's just baffling. You don't have a boyfriend right now. Your job isn't stable. And you haven't even grown up yourself. It's too early, he stammered, not only making no logical sense but also hitting a sore spot. I immediately refused to go along with it. What's so unstable about it? I earn enough money to support myself, and I'll have a boyfriend soon. I just couldn't accept it. How dare a little brat comment on my life? Do you like his type? He was probably referring to Lin Feng. He's alright. He has a good job, he's a decent person, and he's good looking. We're here. Before I could finish speaking, he yelled at me, telling me to get out. What did I do to upset him? Fortunately, we had already reached the 10th floor. At least he had a little bit of conscience. Thank you. I straightened my skirt and turned to leave. Remembering something, I turned back and asked him, "Do you need help with your luggage?" I swear it was absolutely because I felt he was too tired from carrying me up, and I wanted to make it up to him. As a result, all I got was a fierce glare. No. After saying that, he was a step ahead of me, going to open the door, completely ignoring that I was still behind him, and entered first without any gentlemanly manners. So rude. I stood frozen in place. Actually, when he asked me what type I liked, his name was the one that flashed through my mind. This outcome startled even me. If I said it out loud, he would definitely laugh at me. I sighed. That night, when I got back, I wanted to send Lin Feng a message to explain. But after holding the phone for a long time, I didn't know where to start, so I ended up sending nothing. I curled up on the living room sofa, wanting to see if Jiang Ziqing had started packing, but he hadn't. After a night of muddled thoughts, I finally understood one thing. I really didn't want to let him go. The next morning, I got up early to see him off, but my dad said, "You're up so late, his plane took off long ago." I stood there in a daze, feeling empty inside. This morning, our boss came to pick him up personally. My dad's eyes gleamed as he said this. "Oh, congratulations. He told us not to wake you up when he left. That kid may seem a bit unreliable, but he's actually quite thoughtful, knowing you like to sleep in." My mom smiled like a mother-in-law. "Stop dreaming. If you want such a handsome son, have one yourself." "Well, why don't you find one for me? How are things going with that Lin Feng?" "It fell through," I mumbled and slipped away. My mother wanted to ask more, but I immediately shut the bedroom door. Damn it, after Jiang Ziqing left, all the news about him came from my father. What shocked me the most was that his marriage with Xiao still fell through. Xiao Jiang has a temper too. He absolutely refused to agree to the engagement. My boss had no choice and made him choose between studying abroad and getting engaged. He withstood the pressure from the entire family and chose to study abroad. My father looked at me as he shared this news. "Why are you looking at me? Everyone at the company is saying." My dad said this while giving me another once-over from head to toe. "Saying what?" I pretended to be calm as I cracked sunflower seeds. "They say Xiao Jiang has fallen for a girl much older than him." The boss was so furious he beat him up, but the young man refused to back down, swearing he would marry no one else in this lifetime. My heart skipped a beat. It didn't seem like he was talking about me, so why did I relate so deeply and start feeling nervous? I thought. My dad grabbed a handful of sunflower seeds. The suspense was enough to drive me crazy. "What do you think?" "Forget it." My dad withdrew his gaze. "I don't think it could be you. You and he are not the same kind of person at all. There's no spark." I buried my head in my phone, completely unaware. "You and I aren't the same kind of person either." My mom couldn't help but roll her eyes at my dad from the side. In our time, it was different. My dad immediately sat next to her, feeding her fruit and massaging her legs, trying to cheer her up. Sitting beside them, I felt a bit out of place, so I got up and went back to my room. Back in my room, I sat on the bed, lost in thought. Maybe I was overwhelmed by my parents' public displays of affection, but I suddenly found myself wanting to be in a relationship. But when I picked up my phone, I didn't know who to message. Thinking back to what my dad had just said, and remembering the ambiguous moments we shared before he left, my mind turned into a tangled mess, unable to cut through the confusion. After hesitating for a long time, I still added him on WeChat using his phone number. After being deleted last time, we had only been in touch via text messages. Suddenly, I wanted to see his WeChat moments and find out what he was up to. Unsurprisingly, he didn't respond. I tossed my phone aside and went to sleep with my thoughts. Then one day, he accepted my WeChat friend request, but we didn't chat. His name just sat quietly in my contacts. What's even more frustrating is that he didn't have a moment's feed at all. Wasted effort. Life went on like this, and I thought that after the embarrassment of that day, Lin Feng would never contact me again. However, one day as I was walking home from work, I saw a crowd gathered by the roadside. I walked over and saw him there. He was performing first aid on an elderly person who had fallen to the ground. Seeing the old woman's tattered clothes, I suddenly realized, this was the grandmother who collects trash in our neighborhood. her life is quite pitiful. At such an old age, she still has to rely on collecting trash to make ends meet, and her children don't take care of her. I stopped nearby and watched quietly. The crowd around them grew larger, and everyone was very tense, but there were also those who sighed. At such an old age, already plagued by illness, who knows if mouth-to-mouth resuscitation might spread infection? Poor thing, even if saved, who knows how many days they have left to live? Living is also a torment. I also wanted to say something, but faced with everyone's mentality of just watching the spectacle, I felt a bit sorrowful and powerless. In the end, the person was saved. Lin Feng helped the old woman stand up, saying he would take her home, and when he looked up, he saw me. I know where she lives, I'll go with you. Alright. He seemed a bit surprised to see me. After dropping off the elderly woman, he drove me home. The whole way, we were both silent. Isn't it dangerous for you doctors to save people like that? I couldn't help but ask the question. He paused for a moment. Are you worried she might have an infectious disease? She does. It's best to place a piece of gauze over the patient's mouth during emergency resuscitation before performing CPR, he explained, but just now, you didn't have any. Like everyone else, I was also a bit concerned. I know all about that. He paused briefly, but it was a life at stake. As a doctor, saving lives is the only thing that matters in that moment. I stood there in a daze, a wave of admiration for the doctor welling up inside me, and suddenly felt ashamed of my own thoughts. You don't need to worry about me either. As a doctor, I know many methods for prevention and treatment. He was clearly comforting me, giving me a way out. Alright, then I'm relieved. I smiled. We continued walking until we reached the entrance of my building, where he hesitated and didn't leave. Last time, Jiang Ziqing, I couldn't quite bring myself to say it. He's your cousin, right? Yeah, he smiled bitterly. He's doing quite well over there. Going abroad was a relatively good choice for him. Yeah, that's good. I didn't know what else to say. Dr. Lin, let's just be friends from now on. I decided to just throw out that suggestion directly. He was taken aback for a moment, and after a long pause, he finally uttered a single word. Okay. Finally having spoken those words, I felt a little better inside. From then on, Lin Feng and I became friends who could talk about anything. Setting aside the identity of a blind date partner, I found that Lin Feng and I got along even more harmoniously, and there was no more awkwardness between us, and our hobbies are surprisingly identical. The songs we like, the movies we enjoy, the actors we admire, the places we want to visit. No wonder we're from the same era. Our interests are indeed quite similar, but every time I marvel at our similarities, I can't help but think of Jiang Ziqing for some reason. It's as if there's more than just one generation gap between us. I simply don't understand his behavior and actions. I also wanted to send him a WeChat message to ask how he's been doing and find out if he has a girlfriend, but then I thought, what does it have to do with me? With his flirtatious looks, it would be hard for him not to have a girlfriend. Another 6 months passed, and Lin Feng had already been promoted from my good friend to my mom's right-hand man. He would come to my house for no reason at all, and anyone could see that he liked me. I could see it too, yet, he never mentioned the word like, leaving me with no reason to even refuse. As my dad puts it, he's the kind of man who's perfect for marriage. My mom immediately retorted, Sui, don't follow in my footsteps and marry a man who's just suitable. Life afterward will be utterly passionless. Although I want you to get married soon, you should still find someone you truly like. My dad was inexplicably caught in the crossfire. Find someone I like. I think back carefully, and it seems like I haven't felt that flutter of excitement since I turned 20, except for that night, when Jiang Ziqing, lost in passion, whispered in my ear asking if I had locked the door. The blush and racing heart I felt then still leave me unsettled when I think about it now. Holding my phone, I faked a group message and sent Jiang Ziqing a text, Happy Mid-Autumn Festival. After sending it, I waited for a while but didn't get a reply. Feeling a bit ashamed, I wanted to take it back, but the time to withdraw had already passed. Just take the phone to the shower and wait for the message while bathing. Halfway through the shower, the message finally arrived. Mass text, he asked. I breathed a sigh of relief inside, glad he didn't notice. Mass blessings are still blessings. Who are you trying to fool? He's still the same as before, even though he's been gone for half a year. It feels like he never left. I held my phone, thinking about how to reply to him. Believe it or not, after replying to the message, I looked up and unexpectedly saw myself smiling in the mirror. I must be going crazy. Another message notification came, and I unlocked my phone. why didn't my cousin receive the group message? I froze in place. How did he know his cousin didn't receive it? I really don't have the habit of sending mass greetings, and I didn't expect my first attempt at pretending would fail. Maybe it was sent by mistake. How did you know? Oh, I actually wasn't left out. I'm quite lucky. He paused for a moment, then sent a photo over. I took a look. The photo showed Lin Feng drunk. Wow, so he's with Lin Feng. Wait, how come the two of them are together? Are you back in the country? I couldn't help but ask him. Yeah, just a moment. His just a moment hurt my pride. I threw my phone aside and swore I would never reply to his messages again. At 11 p.m., just as I was about to go to sleep, the phone rang. It's Jiang Ziqing. I glanced at it, turned off the screen, and had no intention of answering. After a while, he called again. I still didn't answer. I wanted him to understand the disgust of human nature. After a while, the phone finally quieted down. Kids. Just as I was feeling smug, there was a knock at the door. It was my dad, Sui. What did you call Xiao Jiang about? He said you called him several times, and when he called back, you didn't answer. It's the middle of the night. His dad, with dark circles under his eyes, spoke while yawning. Did you accidentally bump your phone? I stood there dumbfounded and replied, maybe. I never expected that he would actually call my dad and pull this trick. It's really going to be the death of me. Then hurry up and call him back. It's already so late. After saying that, my dad turned and walked away in his slippers. Okay. After closing the door, I cursed him silently for being a scoundrel. The phone rang again at just the right moment. This time, I answered. Why did you call my dad? I was really at a loss for words. I was afraid you wouldn't answer my call, and I wouldn't be able to sleep tonight. His voice was a bit hoarse, clearly from drinking a lot and smoking heavily. Who can't sleep? I retorted. He didn't speak, just chuckled quietly on the other end, making me feel a bit guilty. After laughing for a while, I was about to hang up when he lowered his voice and said, it's me. I can't sleep. His voice traveled through my eardrums and spread throughout my body, tingling and numbing, like an electric shock. What kind of drunken nonsense is this? I'm hanging up. I was so embarrassed I didn't know how to respond. Don't hang up. He quickly stopped me, and after a few seconds, repeated, don't hang up. Then he started talking to himself on the other end. Let me hear your voice. Jiang Ziqing. How much have you had to drink? How much did he drink to get this drunk? Talking nonsense and rambling on again. Worried about me? He asked with a smile. Worried about you? I'm worried about the little girl by your side, I retorted irritably. He laughed again on the other end, and after a while, he said seriously, there isn't. That doesn't sound like him. I can't be bothered to argue with him, so I plan to say a few words and hang up. Are you home? If you are, I'm hanging up. He hesitated for a moment, completely ignoring my request, and continued, my cousin came to the U.S. today, and we had a drink together. Oh, a few days ago. I heard Lin Feng say he was going away for a few days, so he went abroad for an exchange. He said he likes you. Lin Feng doesn't seem like the type to go around telling everyone everything, so why would he tell Jiang Ziqing? Was he drunk? Did you get him drunk? Yeah, I got him drunk. He smiled smugly. Then did you take him back to the hotel? I just went to see him off. He fell silent, and after a long while, he asked, so, do you like him? My heart skipped a beat. I knew the answer very well myself, but I didn't really want Lin Feng to find out through someone else's words. Don't worry about grown-up matters. He fell silent again, and the sound of a door opening came from the other end. He must have arrived home. Sui. His voice was very soft. What? Every time he calls my name, I inexplicably feel a bit awkward. My head is so dizzy. His voice became very low, sounding like he was whining. Whining? I was startled by that word. Who told you to drink so much? There's nothing I can do to help him from here, because I was talking about you with my cousin, and I got a bit carried away, he said with a smile. Me? What's the deal with two men talking about me? You should take a bath and rest early. I tried to change the subject. He said you two get along very well, that you're great, and he really likes you. He even planned to confess to you as soon as he got back, and asked me to wish him luck. Did you wish him luck? I don't understand how we ended up talking about this. I chose to get him drunk and let him act all cocky in front of me, he said with a cold laugh. He's really useless. He paused for a moment. I gave him half a year, and he still couldn't become your boyfriend. I was stunned. What did he mean by letting him have half a year? You're really drunk out of your mind. I didn't know how to respond. Admit it. He resumed his playful tone. You like me too, just like I do, just like I do. My mind went blank with a sudden buzz, my brain stopped working, not understanding how things had come to this, and my heart began to beat erratically. Speak, the voice from the phone pulled my thoughts back to reality. I still didn't speak, I didn't know how to respond. I think I like him, but is he serious? And what about the practical issues standing between us? Can they be resolved? After a while, he sighed and coaxed me in a low voice. Can you say something? It felt like an eternity had passed, my inner struggle was futile, and only then did I realize how deeply his confession had moved me, how much I wanted to tell him that I liked him. Jiang Ziqing. I called his name. He responded softly to me. Are you serious? I sighed and still asked that question. He didn't answer immediately. If I said I'm serious, wanting to date you, wanting you to be my girlfriend, wanting to marry you, would you be scared? I was stunned and definitely said one word, yes. I never thought I'd be so flustered by a younger guy one day. Why are you so timid? He sighed helplessly. Then I'll come back and tell you in person. Come back. I was stunned. You're coming back? I asked him quietly. What if you don't come back? He paused. Some people don't even contact me, yet they keep showing up in my dreams every day, making me. He's starting to get inappropriate again. I'm not going to joke around with you anymore. I'm going to sleep. My face was already burning up. Can we turn on the video for a bit? He suddenly asked. I'm going crazy. You look perfectly fine to me. I retorted with annoyance. Then take a look. I'll show you anything you want, as long as you turn on the video call. I was speechless. He always had a way of making me blush and my heart race. I felt this conversation couldn't go on any longer. Hanging up, I said. And then I really did hang up the phone. Not long after, a message flashed on WeChat. Heartless. Because I slept too late and the next day was a holiday, I didn't wake up until noon. As soon as I woke up, thinking about last night's phone call, my heart still couldn't help but race. But back to reality, he's currently abroad, still studying. By the time he returns in a few years, I'll be almost old. Just thinking about it gives me a headache. Before I could sort through all of this, my mom came knocking on my door. Sui, hurry up and get out of bed. I'm going grocery shopping. Xiao Jiang will be here soon. At least don't just lie there. What kind of impression is that? Mom, who are you talking about? I was a bit confused. Xiao Jiang. He sent your dad a text last night saying he'd be here around noon today to visit. I was even more confused. When did this happen? I quickly got up and sent him a WeChat message, but he didn't reply either. He was probably already on the plane. My head was spinning. I went to the bathroom and splashed cold water on my face to clear my mind. And only then did it fully sink in. He was really coming. While listening to my mom's instructions and tidying up the house, I kept thinking about what he had said yesterday. He said he wanted to say it in person. Could it be today? My heart suddenly started beating so fast. Oh no. What if my parents find out? Just as I finished sweeping the last patch of ground, someone patted me on the back. It was my dad. I was startled and was about to ask my dad if he was a ghost, since he walked without making a sound. The next second, a face peeked out from behind him. I was done for. Jiang Ziqing. Seeing someone I hadn't met in a long time suddenly appear, my mind couldn't quite process it, and I felt a shameful sense of shyness. Sis, he's always been well behaved in front of my dad. You're back. My tone was a bit cold. Mainly because I was afraid he might act recklessly. He didn't let me know in advance that he was coming back, so I felt uneasy. Uncle, I'm a bit tired. Can I go take a nap first? He shrugged helplessly. Of course. Uncle forgot you still need to adjust to the time difference. My dad was still as enthusiastic as ever. Sui, go tidy up the guest room and change the bedsheets. Me, that works too. I walked ahead, with Jiang Ziqing following behind. I couldn't shake off a creeping unease in my heart. Sure enough, as soon as we entered the guest room, he closed the door and pinned me against the wall. I was so frightened I didn't dare breathe loudly, and I whispered sharply, Jiang Ziqing, my dad is. I can't control it. No sooner had he spoken than he lowered his head and kissed me fiercely. It was wild and chaotic, like a starving wolf pouncing on its prey. I was worried my dad might barge in, yet I didn't dare make a sound, so I had no choice but to let him have his way. He didn't let go until I was nearly suffocating, then gently brushed his finger over my lips and said with a smile, sorry, your lipstick is smudged. Are you a dog or something? I was practically ready to curse, feeling my lips burning with pain. I'm sorry, I'll be more careful next time. He smiled and gently stroked my lips with his hand. I shyly turned my face away. Please move aside first, I need to change the sheets. This time, he didn't continue to hold me, allowing me to break free from his embrace. He stood alone at the door, grinning foolishly at me. Oh my God, he's still smiling. My face was flushed all the way to my neck, so I had no choice but to bury my head in making the bed. He stood for a moment, then naturally went over to lie down, still holding my hand. Let go, I said, prying his hand away while keeping an eye on the door, afraid my dad might barge in. Sue. He called my name softly, his gaze fixed on a certain part of himself, and sighed. I can't sleep anymore. I followed his gaze and felt like I was going blind. Actually, I had sensed it when he was holding me earlier, but he always shamelessly says things like this. It's truly embarrassing. Can't sleep, need me to knock you out. I shook off his hand, really wanting to hit him. He still had a smile all over his face. I like it when you knock me out. Want me to say it? Shut up, you. I quickly ran out. Just as I ran out, my dad looked at me suspiciously and asked, "What's wrong with your face?" My heart was trembling with fear, and I tried to calm my breathing. Allergies, dust allergies. My dad pressed for details. I was on the verge of losing it. Maybe. Just then, my mom came back. What are you two standing here for? My mom was carrying bags of groceries, looking like she had emptied the entire market. Come over and help. Coming. I was grateful to my mom for rescuing me from a tight spot and quickly went over to help. My mom was startled and muttered, "Out of 365 days a year, it's rare to see you this diligent. What kind of mistake did you make? Tell me first." I'm not that lazy. Lost money in the stock market. No. I continued picking vegetables while enduring my mom's intense interrogation. Did you break up with Lin Feng? We were never together in the first place. I was speechless. My mom looked at me suspiciously while cooking, staying silent for a long time before finally saying, "You're not pregnant, are you?" I was speechless. Mom, have you forgotten I don't have a boyfriend? I really admired her imagination. Mom knows, but you young people nowadays are just more open-minded than we were back then. My mom said tactfully, "If you are pregnant, I can still help you raise the child. Just don't go to some small clinic, it's not safe." I was completely speechless. However, compared to this, I feel like my own problems aren't that significant anymore. Mom, I have a friend. Which friend? Just the one I was closest to in elementary school. I made up a story. She found a boyfriend who's much younger than her and doesn't know what to do. She can even find a boyfriend younger than herself, yet you can't. Sue, have you ever really thought about your own issues? I was stunned. I had overthought it. My mom's way of thinking is truly different from ordinary people. She's struggling with what to do. Mom, you have plenty of experience. Tell us. My mom put on a serious face and thought for a moment, then glanced at my dad outside the kitchen before leaning in conspiratorially and whispering in my ear, "Logically, I don't approve, but you know, if I were 20 years younger, I'd want to find a boyfriend younger than me too, so obedient and full of romance." Unlike your dad. Why is my dad getting caught in the crossfire again for no reason? My dad has been so good to you, and yet you don't understand. Your dad is indeed a good man, and that's why I'm still living well with him. It's just that when you're young, you shouldn't set too many restrictions for yourself, or you'll have regrets when you're old. I was completely stunned by my mom's words. It's so typical of her. It seems this isn't my fault, if anyone's to blame. It's my mom's genes being too strong. She influenced me. And that's why I ended up with someone younger. Thinking this way, I finally felt much more at ease. During the meal, Jiang Ziqing got up, looking pale. It was clear he was severely sleep-deprived. At the dinner table, my dad didn't ask him many questions, probably thinking he was too tired, and urged him to go back to sleep for a while after the meal, because of the Mid-Autumn Festival. My dad and mom were going to my maternal grandmother's house, and they felt it would be impolite to leave Jiang Ziqing alone here. So they asked me to stay and wait for him to wake up. I returned to my room and, having gotten oil all over myself from cooking, decided to just take a shower. Halfway through, he started knocking on the door. I had no choice but to call and tell him I was in the shower, asking what he needed. "Can I come in?" "No, you can't. Did you lock the door?" he asked me with amusement. I froze in place. Why would I lock the door in my own home? I certainly don't have that habit. I can't sleep. "So I'll just sit at your desk and read some comics," he said so seriously that if I refused, it would seem like I was the one overthinking things. "Don't mess with my things." Sure. So I awkwardly took a shower inside, thinking about him being outside, and quickly finished up. When I finished showering, I was dumbfounded. I had only brought some underwear and hadn't taken any pajamas inside. I was done for. I can't just go out like this, but I can't stay in here forever either. After standing in the bathroom lost in thought for 5 minutes, I had no choice but to send him a WeChat message. Can you help me get my clothes? They're by the bed, I forgot to bring them in. He didn't reply, and I was quite anxious, worried he hadn't seen it. Just as I was about to call out to him directly, there was a knock at the door. You, just give it to me through this crack. I opened the door slightly, leaving a narrow gap. He didn't move for a long time, so I had to reach out and fumble around myself. Just as I touched his hands, the door was pushed open, then quickly shut, and he appeared right in front of me. Close your eyes. I suddenly didn't know where to cover. He looked at me with amusement. You invited me, but you won't let me in. What's the meaning of this? Sister, I really didn't bring any clothes. I'm going crazy. How should I explain this? Don't cover up. It's not like I haven't seen it before. He set the clothes aside. I felt a rush of blood to my head instantly. Give me my clothes. I was about to reach for them, but he took the opportunity to press me down. Cupping my face with his hands, put them on later, he smiled, kissing my forehead, the tip of my nose, my lips, and then moving downward. By the time I came to my senses and pushed him away, he handed me a small square box just before losing control. Sis, I bought it. Looking at that box, I went crazy. When did you buy this? It's been a while. If I don't use it soon, it'll expire. I was speechless. By the time I was fully awake, I was so exhausted I couldn't even move my fingers. Yet he held me in his arms and whispered a string of sweet nothings. My mind was buzzing as I listened to the general idea, yet I couldn't grasp the specifics. Finally, he asked me, will you be my girlfriend? I didn't answer. He then asked, then can I be your boyfriend? I still didn't answer. Right now, I just want to sleep. Let me sleep for a while. I sighed. He fell silent, remaining quiet for a long time, until even the smile on his face faded away. When I felt he was being unusually quiet, I asked him, what's wrong? But he turned his face away, not letting me see. I forced myself to look at his face. His eyes were red, and he muttered, you don't want to take responsibility again. What do you think I am? As he finished speaking, a tear fell. I panicked. I am not being irresponsible. I reached out to wipe his tears, but he grabbed my hand. Then, sister, aren't you going to give me a proper status? All right. I'll give it to you. Don't cry. If he keeps crying, I'm going to start crying too. Clearly, I was the one being bullied by him, but he always had a way of making me feel like I was the one bullying him. Later, I coaxed him for a long time, and he finally broke into a smile when I called him husband. Later, I urged him to go to the guest room, and I lay alone in my own room. He called me on the phone. The moon is truly beautiful tonight. I sighed. Sister, my heart can no longer hold the moon, he said with great emotion. Forget it. After coaxing him for a while, he finally fell asleep. Lying in bed, I reflected on everything that had just happened. It seemed impulsive, yet it was all driven by the stirrings of the heart. I feel fortunate that in this lifetime, while I am still young, I followed my heart. If I had to choose again, I would still choose him without hesitation. Leave the rest to time. After hearing the story above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Looking forward to hearing from you. If you liked this story, don't forget to like it, share it, and subscribe to my channel. See you next time.